Hello, and welcome to the Cash Corner podcast. I'm one of your peer money mentors, Marcel Green, and today we have an exclusive interview with First Independent Bank President Dimitrius Hutcherson. During the interview, we talked about financial literacy, financial knowledge, and how easy it is to access if you have the knowledge and you know what to search for. Here's the interview right here. So, to start it off with, could you introduce yourself and your journey and how you became a president of a banking
Yeah,
company?
sure. Marcel, thanks for first of all, thanks for having me. And I join you as on behalf of the chairman CEO of First Independence Bank, Kenneth Kelly, and the board of directors. It's my pleasure to be here to talk about this topic. And I serve as president of First Independence Bank, and I've been with the bank since 2020, January of 2020. I am a Detroit native, and I grew up on the Lower East Side, so I'm a proud East Sider, and come from that area of town where hard work and just being in a tough community and having to work your way out of it has been the hallmark of who I am. So I'm a product of the Detroit public school systems. Went to Foch Junior High, Howell Elementary, and Cass Tech, and I was also in the Cranbrook Horizons Upward Bound program. It is an academic enrichment and college kind of preparatory program for individuals from low-income areas, and that program was extremely instrumental in preparing me for the ability to go to and to get through college. So initially at Kenyon College, private liberal arts school in Ohio, was there for a year, transferred and spent my last 3 years at Morehouse, where I earned a bachelor's degree in finance, cum laude, and from there started my first job in banking at National Bank of Detroit, the predecessor bank to Chase in Detroit. Started initially in a management training program, then transferred into credit administration, where I completed the commercial loan officer training program, and then the subsequent couple of lending assignments where I was successful. I decided to go back to school full time and get my MBA at Harvard Business School. Harvard B School, I moved to Boston, and I left the area in '93. Stayed on the East Coast for about 25 years, and I accumulated a lot of experience in really learning how to think strategically, do structured problem solving, work in big shops, leading strategic planning, tech and ops work, which really built a skill set that allowed me to be a uh, turnaround, transformation kind of guy, just given the work that I was doing. So I worked, a lot of my work was financial services focused. I worked at Freddie Mac, I worked at GMAC Commercial, and I worked at the CIT Group, which is a commercial finance organization. Did a stint at PNC Bank and went back into consulting. And when I decided to move back home in 2017, I was at Comerica in a tech strategy role. Then I moved back on the business side, and until I was recruited to come to First Independence Bank. My initial job here at the bank was as Chief Technology Officer and Chief Administrative Officer, where I ultimately helped to deal with transforming the bank into a open technology platform. And with that success and the success of moving and expanding into the Minneapolis, Minnesota, the Twin Cities area, I was promoted to president. And my day job, I really am responsible for all facets of the bank, interacting with obviously people, customers, organizations, being out in the community, being the ambassador for the bank and leveraging relationships that I have to help position the bank for growth, and speaking to and meeting the needs of the community around things we do with and towards financial literacy, which is a big component of our mission, goals, and objectives. And it's similar to what we were about when we opened the doors in 1970. So my career, in short, has been a journey where I've worked at big shops. I learned a lot of transformational organizational change management expertise. And I've been able to bring that into First Independence Bank to help enhance our overall plan and development and build our team, position us for continued growth and success.
That's fantastic. I mean, as a guy from the east side of
Mhm.
Detroit myself, who is also studying finance, who is currently in graduate school, hearing that path is something that I definitely like aspire to be, going not only from applying that knowledge from college that I am acquiring at Wayne State and applying that to the real world in the financial industry. And I've been looking at banking and seeing your path really open my eyes and broaden my horizons. So, a question that I have for you is what attracted you to the banking industry in the first place? Was it passion? Was it out of necessity? What attracted you to banking?
Well, when I was at Morehouse College, I was a finance major, and obviously you look to the individuals that are ahead of you, the upperclassmen, and I looked at where the jobs that they were getting, and where how success was going to be tailored for them. They were getting jobs in commercial banking or in banking. At that point in time, when I finished, the big jobs were in credit, commercial banking. So. I modeled, my aspirations, and I was always interested and was intrigued with banking and the whole concept of managing money. It was something that was back of mind. I knew I didn't want to do financial reporting and financial accounting and reporting. While valuable, I wanted to be involved in uh, using my finance skills to solve real problems for businesses, and being a commercial lender is really that path. But the guys that were ahead of me, the upperclassmen, they were getting jobs in banking, and that's what drove my interest and my passion to work at a bank.
Fantastic, fantastic. I was thinking the same route because when I started my college degree in finance, I was thinking more of being a financial analyst, being a prediction analyst, going through projections. But as I'm getting older and I'm being more introduced into the industry, I was thinking about banking as well as more of an attractive industry as a whole. And
So I would tell you, Marcel, that a financial analyst or advisor is a great job. But I've always felt that it's important to have a skill set that is going to allow you to hone in on your knowledge of finance and use it to solve problems for companies, people.
okay, so more of like a well-rounded skill set that can
Hmm.
help other people in the long run.
Absolutely, that's it.
All right. And with that skill set, I have need of like your expertise. Like, what are like some common financial mistakes that you hear or see people make?
Well, oftentimes when I see people when they're starting out, what I'll tell you is that they don't save money. The thing that they don't plan for the future adequately. And so adequately is a relative statement. You have to think about where you are in your career, at the station in your life. And the thing is that people think that just because you don't come from money, you can't, you know, become wealthy. There are ways that you can do that. You can set money aside. It's habits that you develop. And so a lot of times folks tend to not take advantage of that. And they should be careful on how they use credit early in their life. They should really develop a mentality. And again, my grandparents raised me. They had a third and fourth grade education, so I don't come from money. Okay, I didn't have people in the house that could really help me and prepare me for some of the things that you deal with as relates to money and finance. So trying to seek that out, learning from professors. I took money in banking. I took investment finance classes, and that there were books that I read, High Finance on a Low Budget. It taught me how I could start setting money aside in mutual funds. Yes, you have to be involved with a financial advisor, but today you can now have your own investment account, and you can make those decisions and invest with through the banks that have brokerage houses and mutual funds that will accumulate monies. You get to pick the type of index funds that you want to put them in. So being open or talking to a financial advisor and becoming knowledgeable about that, but just learning how to save at an early age. And I did that because I had, and I'm dating myself, a passbook account. And as I got older, I still had savings accounts and I put park money there until I had self-directed, money that I could invest myself. So
And
just opening up, being open to learning about it yourself is is a key. And again, the mistakes, overextending yourself early with credit, where you should just get used to paying, I would say, over time, like layaway, like in the old days when a lot of black folk didn't get credit. When Big Mama, Big Mama, she paid on it on time, as they say. Use some of those old adages until you get the discipline in place to learn how to pay stuff off. It's good to use a credit card, but pay it off monthly. Develop those types of habits.
absolutely. And that's something that I've, as someone who has a good amount of financial knowledge in their early 20s, as someone who's 22, I invest, I have brokerage accounts, I make sure I have specific savings accounts. And my question to you is, what advice would you give someone else who is in their 20s who doesn't really have the financial knowledge, doesn't really come from money, who is looking for a solid foundation to build their financial plan? What advice would you give them on what steps they should take?
Um, what I would do for someone that's in their 20s that may not be a finance major, I would tell them to read some high finance on a low budget. I think that book is still around. There are books and but it's an easy read. There are books that you can read on that. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Those are books that are out. Read some of the simple and go to, there are podcasts that individuals have that you can learn about how to save and invest your money. Participate in those podcasts. They can be game life changing. That's the way you grow your knowledge that you don't necessarily have right away, and it allows you to make good financial decisions to position yourself for the long term. It'll teach you how to. I mean, when I teach financial literacy classes, and I do them myself, I have stages of savings that individuals can go through. Obviously, in your 20s, you'll save smaller amounts, but you should be saving for retirement. You should be saving for health care. You should be saving for things like vacation because that's something that you save and set aside for, and it's out of sight, not out of mind. Just building those types of habits will prepare you for the future.
All right. Well, I know that if I didn't have the financial knowledge, that is a perfect way to start because I would say a good amount of people would be financially literate. They just don't have the knowledge and the wherewithal to know
Yep.
about other stuff.
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm looking at so I'm trying to find that book. That book is really good. So it's that book is still around. So let me tell you, that book is $6.51, or it's $10 on eBay. The one that I bought. It's by Mark Skolson. Mark Skolson. You
And
can
what's the
get
book
it
called?
for. I'm gonna put it in the chat, and I'll put this so you'll have it. You can get it pre-owned for as low as $6.56. I still have the book.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, Professor Edward Pyatt, uh, my investment finance professor.
Wow, all that
Yeah,
financial
penny
knowledge.
stocks. Penny stocks, index mutual funds. I mean, again, you have the ability today to set up a brokerage account. I would advise individuals not to, unless they're really experts, be careful about how you trade. And so Robinhood is a great, like my son has a Robinhood account. Robinhood is a great way to start learning how to trade. They kind of have primers to help you get up to speed. But that's a great way. So I know you have other questions, so I'm gonna stop at that point.
No, I mean, as someone who is, I got introduced with brokerage accounts at a very young age. My dad is a underwriting manager at Blue Cross Blue Shield. He told me all about Roth IRAs, how to
Mhm.
match your 401ks, and
Yes.
he used specifically like Fidelity, but I heard about, Robinhood.
Fidelity is great. Fidelity is outstanding. Vanguard is an excellent fund as well.
Absolutely. I mean, you just said it yourself. 1099, all that financial knowledge is there. You just got to do the research and look for it. But a lot of people just don't have the knowledge or they just don't know where to look. But if you point them in the right direction, everybody will be financially literate and be able to
Yeah.
achieve financial wellness and that freedom that they're looking for.
So we at First Independence Bank, let me do a commercial here. We have we have a program with Operation Hope. That's a company that John Hope Bryant stood up. We have someone that sits in our office on Tuesday and Thursdays, and you can meet with that individual, Mike Randall, by appointment. Owning property is the biggest way to develop financial and generational wealth because that's something you can own and ultimately pass down to relatives should you decide to, buy a home and hold on to it. Um, they teach you if you got caught up and you created some instances where you have blemishes on your credit report, they have what are called financial well-being coaches that work with our customers and help them repair their credit and position themselves for home ownership.
Fantastic. So that transitions into the next segment, which is understanding banking, because a lot of people don't understand how banks work, and some people, because of certain reasons, don't fully trust banks. So my question is, why do you think that is, and how can the industry change that perception?
Well, there were a lot of times when people that look like us, uh, they would go into banks and folks would talk over their heads and not necessarily in a condescending way, and they didn't build trust with them. You have to communicate and meet them where they are. If their knowledge of banking is limited, you have to talk about products that they will understand and be comfortable trusting, putting their money there. Um, that's just that's just one way that you help build the confidence. And us, because we're an African American owned and controlled bank, we have products that are really tailored. We have what's called a first choice checking. So your products have to be tailored to meet the needs of the customers. This is an account for the underbanked or the non-banked. Having a product like that that's basically and service charge free, it's not based on having high balances. It's tailored to for those individuals. Having products that are attractive to them, being able to explain them in plain English without making them uncomfortable and not willing to trust you with. Those are some of the ways that you build trust. We were founded as a beacon of hope to the community. We have a program with Operation Hope that continues to reinforce that. We as bankers, we try to talk to our people and communicate them in a way that makes them feel respected.
All
That's
right.
what we try to do. And people should understand that banks by law, there's just certain things they can't say that they cannot say.
Mm. And if I am a new customer looking for a bank, how should I choose that bank? What should I be looking for?
I think you want to look at the products that the bank has. Do they have accounts for the uh, underbanked or the non-banked? What are those products? How easy is it for me to understand them? Are they going to treat me like a number, or are they going to treat me like a person? How do they go about building relationships? Those are critical things, Marcel, that individuals that want to, partner with the bank need to know.
All right. And how do you see the banking landscape changing with this addition of technology and digital wallets? How do you see the future of banking going?
So, so there's what I'll tell you, Marcel, is that uh there's gonna always be some form of a brick and mortar's office because some people that are older customers, they're never gonna fully embrace technology. But then there are a lot of customers, a lot of people that we're targeting now, that's all they want. They don't want to go into a bank. They want to use AI. So I see AI as a complement to banking and personal finance. It can help gain additional insights and information pertaining to banking. Um, and it's something that ultimately is going to be quite useful and allows to make decisions a lot quicker. It'll provide immediate feedback around investment decisions because of the ability of the platform to leverage, getting decisions, and things done.
And speaking on that, the technology changing banking, what role would you see AI in the future of banking or personal finance as a whole?
Um, it's gonna you're gonna be able to get answers to products, so you can go to Chat GPT and get interest rates on vehicles from year one. If you wanted to take out a loan, if you wanted to lease a vehicle, you can go ask Chat GPT. Give me an estimate of the rate on leasing a Chevy Equinox. So it'll provide you information ahead of time before you go to the bank or the dealership. You go to the bank to get financing, you can say, these are comparative rates that I have. What's the best rate that you can offer me? It will, or even for a mortgage, similarly, it will help you with that. Or if you're trying to put some money into a CD, what are the most attractive CD rates? Going in and using AI and Chat GPT for things like that is going to be extremely important as a tool to get knowledge for folks. But again, going back to banking evolving, fewer brick and mortars locations, but and there'll be uh, teller machines that communicate with you and do everything that a bank does. So it'll be those types of dynamics that make it quicker, faster, more efficient for people. And AI will ultimately be able to answer some questions for you directly.
And this is a something that I'm genuinely curious about. What, in terms of the new financial technologies or trends, are you particularly either excited about or concerned about?
What new financial? Go ahead, play that
Uh,
back.
Essentially, the new financial technologies, like the new AI stuff, and how technology is evolving and how it's incorporating itself in banks, and how the trends and all that, and how what is making you excited about it, or what is concerning about it.
Well, what excites me about it is the fact that it's allowing people that want to do more strategic things, they can focus on those things and won't have to do as many of the back office type chores that have historically been, part of them. Where it can be a concern, there are large language models for AI, and if it's used improperly, AI can, if they don't know about, if you're getting information on a specific topic and it doesn't know enough, there's not enough detailed information out there, it can hallucinate and make up things, and you'll be giving false information to a potential customer. And so you have to know enough about the limitations of AI when you apply it to a specific customer interaction. That's important.
Absolutely, absolutely. And in terms of AI and how everything's been going, what's your opinion on, the rate at it's been growing? Like, is it growing at like a steady pace or is it growing too fast?
Um, I think it's no, it's being it's so it's been there. There are some entities, the bigger banks, they have the budget and the wherewithal to invest in it and to build it out. What that will ultimately do is drive down the costs for smaller banks like us. So it's evolving at an appropriate pace. And you have people that are becoming knowledgeable about enough about it where they know how, excuse me, how to use it and be successful. So you won't necessarily deploy it into automatic commercial loan credit decisioning because there's still some proving out that has to be done. But you can probably do some um automated decisions for smaller loans like installment loans because there's enough information in a rubric around historical information on this individual historic side that can make a solid decision, but you still have to randomly check it from time to time to make sure it's working.
Right. Because that's a lot of people's concerns. Because
Now
people who
you
are,
you gotta manage it. You have to again, it will hallucinate if you ask about topics for which it's not very familiar or there's not enough data out there. It will try to create an answer. So it will hallucinate, and you should be able to identify the fact from fiction.
absolutely, you don't use it as a crutch. Use it
No.
as a way to like formulate your ideas
Yep.
in a sense.
Yep.
Do your own research on the side, but if you're having trouble connecting the dots, maybe use that to connect the dots for you in a sense.
Right.
And um, going towards wrapping it up, what is something like one specific step that you have for someone in terms of wanting to improve their financial future and like what should that be?
So if you wanted to improve your financial feature, Um, I encourage you to go out on the website, find out all the free financial educational information. I think it's Financeopedia or Investopedia, and develop a plan for yourself. You can Google how to create a financial plan for myself. How do I do that? Investopedia is what it is. Let me look it up. Um, that's what I would tell them to do if they don't have access, if they aren't a finance major. Okay, that's something that they can do. So it is Investopedia was founded in 1999, and it's a mission of helping people improve their financial outcomes. Use as much free information as you can, and use Chat GPT to help you confirm some things. And that's AI. But that's what you can do. There's a lot of free public information that wasn't as accessible to folks like me when I was coming out in the world and starting my career. So that's how you build it today.
Mhm. Excellent advice. I'm definitely
Great.
taking notes on this side for sure.
Okay. Okay.
Um, One thing I'm curious about is what is a financial myth that you love to see busted?
Um, I think again, the myth, and I do have a hard stop at 11. The biggest myth is that you can't become rich if you don't have money. You can start from nothing, and you just have to be disciplined. You can develop muscle memory. That's the biggest one. And again, I grew up my grandparents were third and fourth grade education, so you have to understand. I developed reading skills. I read at an advanced, a couple of grade levels higher. I probably did it because I had to read a lot for them. They would ask me questions, and you have to have the desire to break myths and stereotypes. Um, but the fact that you can build wealth by not coming from it historically. And it's just a matter of just using the free information that's out there and leaning into it.
Absolutely. My dad used to he has this book called Everyday Millionaires. And it's basically a book about normal people doing normal jobs and how they become millionaires and how different strategies or investing in certain things or making sure you're living below your means. Like
That's
like
it.
yesterday.
Live below your means. If you are a student,
Mhm.
live like a student, not like a lawyer or a graduate student. Live beneath your means and save.
Absolutely. And I feel like that's the point. That's the thing that people don't understand. They think that they need to make a certain amount or they need to, do this or do that when all in all, making money or like building up your financial wealth is fairly simple if you have the knowledge.
Yep. And if you don't have it immediately, there are tools on the internet. And you go to the library if you don't have a laptop. It's you have access to it.
Absolutely. You can never stop learning. You can
Right.
never stop learning. And finally, to close it out, where can people learn more about your work and your bank's financial education programs for those who don't know?
So let me give you an example. If you're trying to get a personal loan or a mortgage, you can go to firstindependence.com and they can teach you how to do financial calculations on what your mortgage would be. If you want to learn more about First Independence, go to our website, www.firstindependence.com. And you can follow us on social media channels to learn about who we are, what we do in the community. And that's the easiest way that you can figure that out.
All right. Well, with that, that concludes the interview. I know your time is precious, Mr. Hutcherson, and I thank you for
You're
taking time
welcome.
out of your day to come on this Zoom call with me
It's been
and
my pleasure.
educate not only the people but me as well as someone who is in the financial industry who is trying to get his foot in the door. It was nice, speaking to someone who's comes from a similar circumstance, a similar area, and to really just be a sponge and absorb the knowledge that you've given me and other people here today.
Happy to help. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Take care of yourself. Okay,
Have a
man.
good day, sir.
Bye now. You too.